Morning and welcome everyone to the Directors and Assistant Directors of Nursing and Midwifery Public Health Nurses Section webinar. I just want to express a few words of thanks before we commence proceedings this morning. We'd like to express our thanks and appreciation for the support of our sponsor Flynn Medical for today's webinar. Just a bit of history of where we got to today. Our section has endeavoured to provide an education event annually for our members. We have successfully held presentations for the last number of years. Before commencing the programme, I would like to thank a few people for their cooperation in organising today's event. Jean Carroll, our Section Development Officer, who is ever present for questions and support. She guided us through all our IT issues, and I think maybe without her this morning, I'd be speaking to myself to a blank screen. So lucky to have her around. Edward Matthews, our section lead, is ever present at our meetings and is all 100% behind facilitating education sessions such as today. Steve Pittman, Head of Education and Professional Development, who deserves huge credit for organising this event this morning and enticing the speakers to present here today. And finally, I would like to thank Fiona McKeown, the Section Officer who works with me, for her commitment and work in organising today's event. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Karen McGowan. And just following Karen, Phil O'Shea, the General Secretary, is going to say a few words for opening today's events. So Karen was an AMP in emergency medicine in Beaumont Hospital up until recently, where she was elected president of the INMO. And as chair of the ADON section, I would like to congratulate Karen on her recent success in the election and wish her every success in her new role. I would now ask Karen to formally open the Directors and Assistant Directors of Nursing and Midwifery with Public Health Section webinar. Thanks, Karen.
Good morning to you all. As I say, Karen McGowan is my name, and I'm the recently elected President of the Irish Nurses and Midwives organisation. It gives me great pleasure to be here today to open this fantastic webinar for Directors and Assistant Directors of Nursing, Midwifery and Public Health. I wish to commend the section officers Michael Farrell and Fiona McKeown for their hard work and commitment in preparing for this day. It's very difficult to plan ahead during these seen and very unforeseen times that we are in, but it's great to see that the show is it must go on. And to Jean Carroll as well, also just want to say thanks to her for all her support in preparation for this. COVID-19 obviously has had a huge impact on us all and has had huge implications on patient and nursing, midwifery and society as a whole. It has challenged the health system in many ways, and in the early stages of COVID-19 there were issues with PPE, and the constant remains with the issues with staffing levels. And there's no doubt about the commitment shown by nurses and midwives throughout this pandemic. What has been shown by our profession is nothing but short of pure resilience, dedication and true compassion, despite the impact on nurse and midwifery, both on a physical aspect and psychological. And we will hear more from this aspect this afternoon from Steve Pittman's presentation. But what we really need to focus on is the nurse and midwifery leadership that has been shown during this pandemic. Every one of you has a presence in your respective areas. The strength shown by you all has filtered down through all members of staff that you come in contact with, even long after you've finished your shift. And now more than ever, the leaders in you need to continue coaching the teams around you. This guidance and support is crucial during this time, and you know the bar has been significantly raised by nursing and midwifery, and they are meeting these challenges head on. Who would have thought that the year of the nurse and midwife we'd be battling a global pandemic? It begs to belief. The work also that I want to discuss today would be the work of the expert group. There is a lot of unfinished business that needs to be taken care of from our dispute. And building on from that, apologies, hold on. dealing with the nurse and midwifery managerial pay in the first instance, this was discussed by our national executive earlier on this week, and extensive submissions have been made to the group. The INMO will be engaging directly with the group in the coming weeks, and we will be feeding back to all members in relation to this as soon as it becomes available to us. I'm just going to go over briefly what the outline for today's theme are. So the webinar will focus on 3 themes. The first being current national issues, digital development and global issues. We will have the newly appointed CNO, Ms. Rachel Kenna, discussing the future direction of nursing and midwifery. This will be followed by Dr. Edward Matthews, Director of Professional and Regulatory Services in the INMO, who will provide an overview of legal and professional issues. The second theme will explore the developments in technology. Loretta Grogan, the National Clinical Director for Nursing Midwifery, the HSE, will talk about the developments in telehealth. We have significant developments in telehealth as part of the Sláinte Care implementation plan, which has gathered pace as a result of COVID-19. We will have Sheila McClelland, the CEO of NMPHN, who will provide an overview and update on the rollout of the new My NMPHN digital platform that will be part of the lives of all nurses and midwives in Ireland. The final session, we have Howard Catton, the CEO of ICN, to provide an overview of the State of World's Nursing Report. This is a significant report that outlines the current challenges for nursing workforce and requirements over the next 5 to 10 years. And as I've said, that COVID-19 has had a significant impact on nurses and midwives, and Steve Pittman, Head of Education and Professional Development, will present the findings of the INMO psychological impact of COVID-19 on nurses and midwives in Ireland survey. The final session of the webinar will focus on celebrating the compassion of nurses and midwives and the mark they leave on families and patients. Bonnie Barnes will then talk about the role of the Daisy Foundation and awards. The Daisy Awards have been introduced into the RCSI Hospital Group and the Mater Hospital, and it is very well supported by the INMO. And I will now hand you over to the General Secretary, Ms. Philomene Hay.